This is the 160th anniversary of the Battle of Shiloh in Tennessee, early in the Civil War. General Ulysses S. Grant had marched his army south. He defeated the Confederates at Forts Henry and Donelson on the Kentucky-Tennessee lines, then marched into Nashville pretty much unopposed. General Albert Johnston of the Confederacy had marched his army out of Nashville, and they collected down in Corinth, Mississippi. He grew his army to about 60,000 soldiers. Grant's mission, obviously, was to go south, confront Johnston. Now, most everybody in the world, the universe, knew that Johnston would be preparing an incredible defense, readying himself for this massive attack. Grant made it down to Pittsburgh Landing, Tennessee, about 20 miles outside of Corinth. And surprise, surprise, Johnston brought about 45,000 of his soldiers and attacked Grant's army. They won the first day, easily. Johnston rode his horse up and down the lines, encouraging his men, took a bullet in his leg, bled out, and died. It's too bad because they said if he'd just taken a few minutes, somebody put a tourniquet on, he probably would have lived. This is the ultimate what might have happened question in history, because if he had lived, South would have probably won the overall battle. Grant would have never been president, and this would have changed the entire trajectory of the war at that time. Now, what lessons can we learn? The big one, first and foremost, is we never learn a lesson when it comes to war. Listen, even Southerners and Northerners at that time, they had a romantic view of war. They were longing for the stories of heroism and courage, Hollywood endings. But then they learned the brutality, the horror of this one battle. 23,000 soldiers died or were wounded. I mean, this was awful, and the romanticism was gone. When the war broke out in Russia with Ukraine, I did a podcast on this, and I said, have these people not learned from their own history, World War I and II? Man, nobody's life is being threatened. There's no national sovereignty issues. What is this, Putin? And yet we have people in our own capital of Washington, D.C., calling for us to go to war, to send our men and women to Ukraine to die on that battlefield. For what? I would never vote for that. We just can't learn. People have a romantic view. A second lesson is about slavery. We have people in our society now trying to tell us the Civil War was about slavery. Wrong. Was not. Now listen, I give Abraham Lincoln credit and a debt of gratitude for raising the priority of slavery during the war. But no, the reason those soldiers came from the North to kill people in the South was because 11 states had seceded from the Union. They viewed that as illegal. And the reason Southerners were fighting, they thought it was legal, but also the fact that a foreign country would bring soldiers onto their sovereign land, the war's on. Nothing to do with slavery until later. Please don't miss that. By the way, Jefferson Davis wrote a book after the war was over with. He was put on trial for treason, but the trial never happened. Most people believe it's because he was a lawyer. If he gave a legal defense for secession in a court, that would undercut the whole reason the North went to war. So it never went to trial. Read the book for some shocking stuff. Also, go to my website, uobilly.com or universityofbilly.com. I got stuff there for you. I want you to leave me comments. Let's have a discussion. Otherwise, hey, thanks for listening and have a wonderful day.